Scene design does work on three different levels. I think has three different functions. The storytelling part is primarily the way it functions to communicate intellectual information, the who, what, where, when, all that helps the audience know those things. When the curtain goes up and you see a particular chair, a particular lamppost, you're transported to a time, a place. Then there's a psychological level that has to do more with style and atmosphere, and that helps you just laugh with the play or cry with the play, or and then there's another level which is harder to define, but it's what makes a story universal, which is the metaphysical level. There's something about this story that's going to transcend time. It's not about us right now, but it's also about us later on and before, and that's harder to define scenically, but that's what makes scene design an art. Working with David early on, we were more interested in, even though we were interested in locating it in the late 19th century, it was more about the psychological environment than placing it in a particular period. One of the early conversations that David and I had, or the whole production team had, is this wanting to be a place where the young people could both play and deal with the serious issues of the play. But a playground was one of the images that David brought to us early on. So that was fun, just figuring out, looking at all the different ways that playgrounds are built. And so David and I were able to look at some of these other spaces and just pick out things that either the way the lights fell on a piece of architecture, or the way the space was oriented, or the quality, the light, the color, the texture of it. So we're looking at conceptual approaches more than a particular location, a particular time. In this particular play and the design, I'm hoping when people come in, they'll wonder where they are, and they won't know until the characters use it. The ladders, many of them are functional, part of the playground, but we'll also see that some of the ladders are not functional, and therefore provide a way for the youth to perhaps access the layer of the adults, even though at the top of it there's really no easy way to make that leap. I do usually 3 steps. I'll do floor plans and elevations that show the people in the shop, the crafts people, the shapes, the sizes, and how all the pieces, how to build those so they go together. I test that out by doing it myself in quarter and half-inch scale here, as well with paint. And then I also do that in the computer program, because I can render it with lights and texture and color fairly accurately. So there's 3 different ways that I represent the final. But it's the plans that facilitate the actual construction. Visiting the shop, we have our production lab, so the students are up there right now, adding the deck to the skeleton that you can't see behind this model. So yeah, they work. They take a class, they get credit for working in the shop and doing the cutting and nailing and assembly of all the pieces that are necessary. And students who want to actually be designers, they'll start by taking a class, usually my scene design studio class, and there's advanced class. It's always helpful to be an assistant on one of our main stage projects first, and we have the black box program where students work with other students to arrange that space and work on scripts. Often students come to take the scene design class because there is a romance to it, which is exciting, and you create spaces that don't exist anywhere else. You can also create spaces that feel so authentic that people come and they want to touch it. But there's also the opportunity to do things like this, where there are environments that come out of someone's imagination. You don't quite know why they're there, what they're going to do until the play takes place. And that opening night, regardless of how much toil this takes, there's something magical opening night when the audience gets in there and you see the actors help the audience make sense of it all.